One day at school, Oda, Akira, and the second-year students of a Japanese high school witness a glowing rune appearing on the classroom floor. They become confused as their classroom starts quaking and a bright light surrounds them. They lose consciousness briefly and wake up in an unfamiliar place. Akira is overwhelmed and wonders where they are. He sees a tall man wearing a royal robe and crown standing up. The man greets all the students and welcomes them to his palace, explaining that they have been summoned to another world. He introduces himself as the king and the girl beside him as his daughter, the princess. The king assures her that their presence is for an important reason. Akira wonders about the current situation. The king continues his speech, revealing that he brought them to this new world because he needs a hero to defeat the Demon King. The other students struggle to believe that they have been summoned and are potential heroes. The king explains that the world they are in is called Morrigan, consisting of 4 continents inhabited by humans, elves, beastmen, and demons. He rules a country called Retris, which has the largest human population but is currently under threat from the demons. He informs them that they have been selected as candidates for the hero title, desperately hoping they can slay the Demon King for the sake of peace in this country. An old man with a staff comes out from behind the king and tells the students that only one of them can become the chosen hero. However, the others will also receive special powers, and all of them have an important role in fighting the demons. He explains that he will show them how to discover their abilities. Some of the students are surprised and curious about what kind of abilities the old man is talking about. He reveals that in order to see the full details of their abilities, they need to say the phrase, "Status open." Akira decides to follow the man's instructions and says the phrase. Immediately, a hologram appears in front of him, displaying information about his skills, health points, mana points, attack power, defense power, and more. Akira realizes from the hologram that he is an assassin with 1800 HP and 1200 attack power. He wonders how his numbers compare to others. Akira can only see his own status bar, and his classmate asks if he has seen his own. Akira confirms that he has. However, he admits that he can't remember the name of the classmate who approached him or the names of half his classmates. Akira asks the boy about his occupation, and the boy reveals he is a wind mage, but not the hero. He then asks Akira about his occupation, and Akira tells him he is an assassin. The boy gets excited and suggests calling Akira a ninja because he always disappears during classes. Akira assumes that the status bar in this world is based on their past experience and characteristics in Japan. He realizes that he acquired skills like arithmetic and negotiation through bargaining for groceries in the local market. Akira's classmate asks him who he thinks will become the hero, and Akira thinks for a moment before mentioning Sato Tsukasa as a potential candidate. Akira believes Tsukasa has the qualities of a hero because he has a good appearance, an impressive academic record, excels in sports, and holds a leadership position in the student council. The old man gathers all the students and presents a crystal ball on a small pillar. He tells them to line up and touch the ball one by one. The old man explains that the ball is a magical tool that scans their abilities and shows their status to everyone. Out of curiosity, Akira becomes worried about the ball revealing their abilities, as he doesn't understand the significance of the situation. The old man randomly chooses a girl to go first, and she agrees. Akira realizes that revealing their abilities publicly is risky. When the girl touches the ball, a large hologram displaying her stats appears for everyone to see. Akira is confused and shocked to see that the girl's abilities are much weaker than his own. He wonders how this could be possible and senses that the situation is not favorable. Determined to keep his abilities a secret, he manages to activate a skill called Stealth. Stealth is a skill mainly employed by assassins to hide their presence from ordinary eyes. His classmate tries to tell him something, but to his surprise, he can no longer see Akira. Confused, the classmate scans the surroundings, wondering where Akira has disappeared to. Akira, relieved that his stealth ability worked, takes this opportunity to remain alert in case anything unusual arises. It's now Tsukasa's turn, and Akira closely observes to see if Tsukasa's index is stronger than his own. This would indicate that it's safe for Akira to reveal his own status as well. As Tsukasa approaches the crystal ball and places his hand on it, murmurs arise among the classmates, suggesting that Tsukasa might be the chosen hero. When Tsukasa's profession is revealed as the coveted hero, Akira notices that Tsukasa's overall stats are still significantly lower than his own. This puzzles Akira, leading him to wonder why he possesses greater power than the hero himself. The old man warmly welcomes the hero, expressing delight at the sight of him. He explains that in the current world they inhabit, most individuals have an attack power that reaches a maximum of 100. Even the most skilled warriors have only reached a recorded maximum of 500. Concluding his speech, the man assures them that with the hero on their side, they can easily defeat the Demon King without encountering any problems. Akira starts feeling uneasy and wonders what caused him to become so powerful. The old man tells all the students to follow him, promising to assist them in getting the right equipment. Akira notices a surveillance camera on the ceiling and feels even more uneasy, sensing that something is about to occur. Later, he discovers an available room where he can rest and contemplate the situation. He ponders the purpose of the assassin class and realizes he's meant to be in the background for the hero. Due to his negotiation skill, he also senses that the king is hiding something from the rest of them. He decides to keep hiding and stay away from the ball. Akira remembers that since the introduction, he has been separated from the other classmates, waiting quietly for an opportunity. He realizes that the room hasn't been cleaned since he entered, but luckily it doesn't have any cameras. Akira decides to leave his room at night to uncover the king's secret. He breaks into the armory to get new clothes and weapons, as wearing his school uniform would make him stand out. He quickly finds the king and overhears a conversation with Prince Maria. She mentions that the summoned students are unaware of anything unusual and are clueless about their purpose. The king instructs her to stick to the plan and prevent the students from entering the gallery. He plans to send the knight commander to train them the next day. After the princess leaves, the king goes to the study to write something. Akira attempts to assassinate him but changes his mind at the last moment, realizing he hasn't figured out the king's plan yet. He decides to retreat, a decision he later regrets. Meanwhile, in the forest, a young girl runs frantically, being pursued. Suddenly, an arrow hits her legs, causing her to fall. She realizes the arrow is tipped with a tranquilizing poison. As she tries to remove it, her attacker, a woman, approaches and mockingly questions why the girl is still alive. The following day, all the students gather in the dining area for breakfast. They appear to be enjoying themselves and engaged in quiet conversations about various topics. Suddenly, Tsukasa attracts attention by loudly striking the table and rising to his feet. He asks everyone to listen to him for a moment. Tsukasa acknowledges that they all must be feeling disoriented and unable to think clearly due to the shocking event they experienced the previous day, being summoned to another world. However, he assures them that he intends to utilize his strength to aid the people of this new realm. He encourages them, stating his belief in their inner strength, and implores them to join him in the mission to defeat the Demon King. This rouses the students, and they cheer him on. Tsukasa, however, privately doubts their enthusiasm, as he realizes they have no knowledge of whether the king and princess can be trusted as allies. He also ponders how they will react when they discover that the tale of the demon invading human territory might be a falsehood. Nevertheless, the students agree to follow Tsukasa's lead. Akira, on the other hand, sighs in relief, grateful for having activated his stealth ability beforehand. Once breakfast concludes, he briefly contemplates escaping the castle alone. Later at the training grounds, the students marvel at its immense size, acknowledging that it surpasses even the expanse of their schoolyard. A lively man steps forward and introduces himself as Saran Misre, the knight commander of Redis' kingdom and its last line of defense. In a playful manner, he confides to his vice commander, Zeal Asti, that such an introduction feels rather embarrassing. However, Zeal advises him that revealing his true nature may cause the students to underestimate him. Commander Saran informs the students that in 1 month's time, they will venture into an underground dungeon. For this reason, he pledges to train them diligently every day until that time arrives. Some students worry if they can become strong in a month. He reassures them that if they don't improve despite his training, the issue lies with their incompetence. The students feel dejected, but he acknowledges their potential and believes they can overcome the training effortlessly. Commander Saran and Akira briefly lock eyes. Akira smiles and acts normal, but doubts if their gaze really met because his stealth skill is active. Akira decides to leave as he doesn't want to follow the king's order. Saran instructs Zeal on training the students and entrusts the responsibility to him. Zeal tries to object, but Saran disappears quickly. Akira is still hanging around when he suddenly hears the commander asking where he's going. Akira stutters, trying to engage in casual conversation, but the commander sees through him. Akira asks how the commander can see him, and the commander reveals his special eye skill called Evil Eye. Evil Eye is a skill that allows its user to see things that normal eyes can't see. Akira stops pretending and offers himself the punishment for skipping training. However, Saran isn't interested in punishing or sending him back to train. He simply wants to know where Akira is heading. Akira confesses he's going to the library. Saran reminds him that the king prohibited access, but Akira wants to learn more about their world. Saran confirms Akira's use of the stealth skill, and Akira confirms. Saran asks about Akira's skill levels, and Akira mentions they're all at level 1. Saran proposes to teach Akira how to upgrade his skills, but Akira suspects that there's a catch. Saran suggests a trade of information about the respective worlds. Akira agrees, and they seal the deal with a handshake. Zeal appears and calls for the commander. He finds the commander with Akira and scolds him, saying they still have a lot of work to do. Zeal apologizes to Akira for Saran's behavior. Akira asks Zeal if he can visit the barracks another time, and Zeal happily agrees. On their way back, Saran and Zeal notice that it's been a long time since Saran smiled the way he did with Akira. Saran agrees. Zeal asks Saran what they talked about, and Saran tells him it was just a casual conversation about sharing information about their worlds. Saran tells Zeal about some things in Akira's world, like a moving metal box, flying metal clumps, and how news spreads instantly worldwide. Saran also mentions that Akira said he comes from a place called Japan. Zeal remembers that the first hero was also from Japan, and suggests that Akira might be stronger than the first hero. Saran agrees, mentioning that Akira's stealth skill is maxed. Zeal is surprised by this information because, besides the first hero, no one else has ever achieved a maxed skill. Saran explains that people in their world usually have a max skill level of 9, and it's rare for most people to go beyond level 7. However, those summoned from other worlds can easily exceed these levels. Saran wonders why the king didn't pay attention to Akira and suspects that Akira used his stealth skill to avoid the ritual the previous day. He is confident that the king has no idea about Akira's abilities. Saran continues to praise Akira's talent until Zeal asks if he plans to bring Akira to their camp. Saran replies that if Akira has realized the king's true nature, it might be okay to share their thoughts with him. Saran decides to personally train Akira, not just for surviving the dungeon, but to help him make the most of his skills. Tsukasa is training in the field when he spots Akira. He expresses his dislike for Akira and reveals that they have known each other since they were young. But Akira forgot his name when they were in middle school, despite sitting next to each other. Tsukasa mentions his popularity, good grades, athletic abilities, and decent looks. Yet Akira still doesn't remember him, indicating a lack of interest. Tsukasa has been secretly observing Akira since they arrived at Morrigan, and is unhappy with Akira's reluctance to join the team, and his growing friendship with the commander. Tsukasa wonders why Akira won't acknowledge him. Princess Maria approaches him and offers him a glass of water, which he accepts with a smile. He reminds himself to stay calm because he's the hero, but resolves to become even stronger to prove himself to Saran and Akira. 1 month later, after completing their training, the students proudly march toward the dungeon. The civilians cheer them on, but Akira, wanting to avoid attention, uses his stealth skill to go unnoticed. However, he notices a girl staring at them with a cold gaze. He approaches her and asks why she's glaring at the heroes. The girl responds coldly, questioning if Akira understands the sacrifices made to summon them to this world. Before leaving, she suggests meeting again after Akira finds the answer, because she has a feeling they will cross paths once more. Commander Saran, along with Zeal and Akira, convene for a brief meeting. Saran announces that their next destination is the Continent Dungeon. He proceeds to educate Akira about the existence of a dungeon on each of the 4 continents in Morrigan, and each one is named after its respective continent. Saran assures Akira that the knights will accompany him and the other students to the dungeon, urging him to showcase the progress they have made during their month-long training. Inside the dungeon, the students courageously engage in combat with rat monsters, managing to defeat many of them. However, due to the overwhelming number of rats, a few slip past their defenses. In a moment of danger, a rat lunges at a girl, prompting her to scream, but Akira swiftly eliminates the threat. Akira expresses his surprise to Saran, admitting that he underestimated the capabilities of the students. Akira recalls that initially they were progressing smoothly through the first 30 floors of the dungeon. Unfortunately, one of the students mistakenly triggered a trap, which allowed the rat monsters to flood in. The students continued fighting, but eventually, the situation became unbearable. Akira suggests to Saran that they should retreat. Saran agrees and commends the students for their progress thus far. He informs them that he will create a path for their escape and urges them to quickly make use of it. After chanting a spell and utilizing his skill, Heavenly Blade, Saran creates a visible path for the students. Zeal instructs the students to run towards the surface, following the path. As they flee, the students realize that there are also monsters awaiting them at the entrance of the next floor. Suddenly, Tsukasa remembers a smoke bomb given to him by Princess Maria, specifically for moments of danger. A smoke bomb continuously emits smoke instead of causing an explosion. He uses smoke bombs on the animals, causing them to run away. However, Tsukasa realizes that he will soon run out of smoke bombs. He runs ahead of the other students and advises them to stay close and run together. Zeal and another knight combine their skills to fend off more monsters. Akira is impressed by their coordinated attack and asks Saran if the knights alone aren't sufficient to defeat the Demon King. Saran ignores the question and instructs them to retreat. While retreating, they hear a loud growl from the upper floor and rush to investigate. They discover a minotaur, which surprises Zeal because such monsters are typically found in deeper dungeon levels. Akira attempts to attack the minotaur, but his dagger breaks upon contact, revealing the minotaur's incredible toughness. Akira approaches Tsukasa to inquire about the situation. Tsukasa explains that they were just using smoke bombs to repel the monsters, and that the minotaur appeared after they used their last smoke bomb. The minotaur attacked them, and Tsukasa's attempt to block its cudgel with his sword resulted in a broken hand. Zeal assures Akira that the knights will handle the Minotaur and advises him to take Tsukasa to a healer. Akira escorts Tsukasa while commending his bravery and resilience in the face of pain. Tsukasa responds to Akira's statement by asking who will protect their classmates if he doesn't do it himself. In response, Akira questions who will protect him if he takes on the responsibility of protecting everyone else. Akira argues that a hero's purpose is not solely to protect others, but to use their strength to defeat the Demon King. He reiterates that their classmates are capable of protecting themselves, as they have all trained for this day. Akira advises Tsukasa to prioritize taking care of his own well-being. Tsukasa's behavior immediately becomes erratic, with him mumbling and speaking incoherently. Akira deduces that something must be wrong with Tsukasa. Asuka asks the other students if anyone among them possesses the skills of a healer or an exorcist. Two girls step forward: Hoshoyama Shiori, a healer, and Ueno Yuki, an exorcist. Yuki questions how being an exorcist can assist Tsukasa, to which Akira responds that he will explain later. Akira asks Shiori if she can heal Tsukasa's arm, and she agrees to do so promptly. Yuki inquires about her role, and Akira instructs her to use the Dispel Curse ability on him. Dispel Curse, a skill that allows the user to exorcise any type of curse or possession on another person. Yuki begins to recite her spell, casting the Dispel Curse. At first, it appears to be effective, but then Tsukasa's body resists the exorcism, surprising everyone who had no idea that Tsukasa was cursed all this time. Akira observes that the knights are struggling against a powerful Minotaur, and contemplates joining the battle. However, he hesitates because he doesn't want to leave Tsukasa alone while still recovering from injuries. One of his schoolmates encourages Akira to join the fight, assuring him that they will take care of Tsukasa. Filled with determination, Akira hurriedly approaches Saran and insists on sharing crucial information about Tsukasa. However, he suggests putting it aside until they defeat the Minotaur. Akira explains that since his dagger is already damaged, he must utilize the secret skill he has learned, regardless of Saran's approval. Saran accepts the plan and urges Akira to ensure the safety of everyone returning to the surface. With the monstrous creature vanquished, Akira and his fellow classmates find themselves under the guidance of the valiant knights as they navigate their way out of the foreboding depths of the dungeon. However, their journey is far from over, as they still have a considerable distance to cover before reaching the safety of the castle. As they tread through the dense forest, the commander issues a stern warning, urging them not to let their guard down even for a moment. Akira keenly notices the stark contrast between the chaos in the dungeon and the eerie silence that now envelops the forest. Realizing the importance of remaining vigilant, he reminds his companions to stay alert, recognizing the need to prioritize their own safety for their own good. In a momentary respite, Akira decides to assess his own progress by checking his status. To his astonishment, he discovers a significant surge in power, propelling him from a mere level 1 to an impressive level 15. Not only has his overall level skyrocketed, but his other attributes have also experienced a substantial boost. Akira surmises that this sudden surge in strength is likely a direct result of his encounters with the formidable dungeon monsters he valiantly vanquished. It seems the most plausible explanation given the circumstances. Remarkably, his current status is thrice what it once was when he first came into this magic world, a statement to his growth and development. Furthermore, his proficiency in various skills has improved exponentially. As a pleasant surprise, he discovers two new abilities at his disposal: Roar and Intimidation. Recalling the commander's earlier mention of acquiring skills from defeated foes, Akira begins to understand the connection between his close encounter with the formidable Minotaur monster and the acquisition of these newfound skills. However, despite this exciting progress, the entire experience feels somewhat surreal and too swift for Akira to fully comprehend. Nevertheless, being the adaptable individual he is, Akira remains confident in his ability to grasp these newfound powers with ease. Contemplating the fate of the renowned hero Tsukasa, Akira finds himself perplexed by the reckless actions that characterized Tsukasa's approach during their encounters with the Minotaur monster. In Akira's opinion, it was unwise for Tsukasa to assume the burden of protecting everyone on the battlefield. Each member of their group had undergone rigorous training and should be capable of fending for themselves. Tsukasa's noble yet misguided heroism only resulted in him suffering 2 broken arms, an unfortunate consequence of his misplaced priorities. Curiosity piqued, Akira wonders if Tsukasa, like himself, has also acquired new skills as a result of their formidable foe. Returning to the safety of the castle, a sense of relief washes over everyone. To ensure that no one has been lost in the chaos of battle, a roll call is imminent. However, Akira finds himself desiring to evade this routine check. He yearns to distance himself from anything associated with the king and the castle, preferring a sense of independence. Just as he contemplates making his escape, the commander intercepts him, presenting him with a remarkable gift, an extraordinary sword unlike any other. It is a katana, a weapon with a storied past once wielded by the very first hero. The hero of then had crafted the sword with his own hands. Revealing a surprising connection, the commander discloses that both he and the first hero hail from the same time period and place, Japan. This revelation leaves Akira awestruck, as he realizes the weight and significance of the ancestral weapon now entrusted to him by his esteemed mentor. In the face of the formidable Minotaur monster, the commander known as Saran realizes that even with his full strength, he cannot confront the beast alone. However, fortune smiles upon him as Akira arrives just in the nick of time, prompting the commander to ask for his aid. Without hesitation, Akira wholeheartedly offers his assistance, recognizing that the commander's knowledge and guidance are far more valuable in the realm of the living than the realm of the dead. Saran shares the sentiment, acknowledging that there is still so much he yearns to learn about Akira's world, including the marvels of airplanes and telephones. In a sincere pledge, Akira promises to indulge Saran's curiosity and enlighten him on all he desires to know, provided they survive the encounter. With a firm agreement forged between them, they prepare to face the impending challenge. Witnessing the commander's intentions, the onlookers become aware that Saran is about to execute a skillful flanking maneuver. To ensure their safety and avoid the devastating impact of the planned attack, they obediently retreat to a designated distance from the battleground. Saran, invoking the powers of the heavens, calls upon divine assistance, unleashing a brilliant flash of lightning upon the monster's foe, causing it to bellow in agonizing torment. Now it makes sense why the onlookers had to move a safe distance. Amidst the beast's cries, the onlookers can tell that the commander has indeed inflicted a substantial blow upon the fearsome Minotaur. Saran then signals to Akira, indicating that it is his turn to take action. With unwavering determination, Akira harnesses the arcane power of shadow magic, earning the commander's admiration for his quick thinking and strategic prowess. Their combined skill manifests as a coordinated and calculated assault, catching the monster off guard. Saran commands Akira's clever maneuver, noting how the surprise attack seems to overwhelm Akira himself. This is not the first time Akira has faced such a daunting challenge, as their rigorous months of training had prepared them for such battles. Nevertheless, Akira remains undeterred, relentlessly pummeling the monster with precise strikes and utilizing the shadow magic as if it were ethereal ropes, ensnaring the beast from every conceivable angle. With resolve, Akira begins a grueling tug of war, forcefully dragging the Minotaur against its will and resistance. The clash of strengths eventually culminates in the decapitation of the Minotaur, leaving the beast defeated and lifeless. Exhausted from exerting such formidable power, Akira wants to return home. Despite his wariness, Akira is commended for his commendable achievement. Truly a job well done. The commander informs Akira that he and the first hero originated from the same time period and place, Japan. To Akira's surprise, the commander reveals that the king remains unaware of the gift, and he implores Akira to maintain their secret arrangement. It transpires that the katana was actually stolen from the castle's treasury. Yet, the commander justifies this act as a necessary evil, driven by the fact that Akira's original dagger was shattered in the heat of battle. Interestingly, it appears that the dagger is also a stolen treasure from the castle. Deep in thought, Akira meticulously examines his newfound sword. The name it bears, Kogura Suzukuri, resonates with him, as he surmises that it means Little Crow Maid. This double-edged weapon exudes an aura of darkness with its black sheath, blade, and grip. Even the reverse side of the sword is lethal. Curiosity compels Akira to delve further into the history of this particular sword. He recalls reading about it somewhere in the annals of his knowledge. Seeking confirmation, he asks the commander for its name. To their astonishment, the blade bears an inscription in a foreign language they are unable to decipher. However, the sword's true name, Yato no Kami, meaning God of Blades, is prominently etched upon it. Although the original inscription remains enigmatic to them, when Akira grasps the sword, a sense of nostalgia washes over him. As he slowly draws the blade from its sheath, additional inscriptions come into view, this time in a language he comprehends. It becomes evident that the first hero who once wielded this extraordinary weapon has left behind a message meant for whoever would inherit the sword. The message beseeches that the sword be of utmost utility in the most critical moments. This entire affair leaves Akira pondering the enigmatic nature of the first hero, prompting him to wonder what kind of person the hero truly was and what extraordinary feats they may have accomplished. As Akira carefully returns the wondrous katana to its intricately adorned sheath, he prepares to leave. However, the commander seizes the moment to inquire about something Akira had alluded to earlier, concerning the hero, Tsukasa. Eager to share his observations, Akira reveals that Tsukasa appears to be ensnared in a cursed predicament, despite numerous attempts by their classmates to dispel the curse to no avail. Intrigued, Akira seeks the commander's insight and understanding of the perplexing situation. Meanwhile, in another captivating scene, the true nature of Tsukasa's enchantment is revealed. It is none other than the princess of the castle herself who holds him under her spell. Driven by a tenacious determination, she is resolved to shape Tsukasa's actions and thoughts according to her whims, exerting her influence and wielding her power with unwavering determination. The intensity of the situation continues to mount, adding an air of suspense to the unfolding tale. However, the princess's twisted machinations are soon thwarted by Akira, who disrupts her carefully laid plans. Unaware of his identity, she questions his audacity, presuming him to be a friend of Tsukasa. She admonishes him for daring to trespass into her private chambers, suggesting he lacks shame. Unfazed by her accusations, Akira resolutely asserts that she is no true lady, at least not in the honorable sense. He accuses her of resorting to devious means to keep someone she supposedly loves enthralled for her own selfish interests, deeming it an unsettling manifestation of twisted affection. In no uncertain terms, Akira makes it clear that he disapproves of such distorted notions of love. Driven by a sense of purpose, Akira reaches out and grabs hold of the crystal the princess had been fervently chanting over. A chill runs down his spine as he senses the frigid energy emanating from the crystal, even as he forcefully rips it from the table. With the crystal confiscated, Akira firmly believes that Tsukasa should finally be liberated from the binds of the enchantment on him. However, before taking his leave, he seeks an explanation from the princess herself, wanting to understand why she dutifully follows the king's orders. In response, she expresses her unwavering loyalty to the crown, motivated by a desire to serve the majesty's best interests. Satisfied with her answer, Akira gracefully makes his exit, effortlessly navigating through the window he had originally entered. The encounter with the princess leaves Akira deep in contemplation, pondering the profound depths of her understanding, or rather lack thereof, when it comes to love. He finds himself questioning the circumstances surrounding her upbringing and the reasons behind her distorted perspectives on affection and devotion. Seeking clarity, Akira confides in the commander, who shares a revelation. The princess tragically lost her mother during childbirth. Left to be raised by a king consumed by an abiding love for his departed queen, the princess had to navigate the complexities of love without her mother's guiding presence. This backstory sheds light on the unconventional ways in which she perceives and approaches love. Despite her upbringing, the princess has grown into her own woman, unyielding and determined. Akira will soon realize that confiscating a single crystal from her was merely a minor setback. The princess possesses an abundance of these crystals, ready to replace the one he had taken. After his encounter with the princess, Akira stealthily reports back to the commander, attempting to execute his sneaky maneuvers. However, much to his chagrin, the commander easily detects his presence, leaving Akira bewildered as to how the commander manages to ruin his stealth attempts so effortlessly. The commander, with a knowing smile, dismisses Akira's failed stealth as a testament to how well he understands him. Their extensive time spent together has forged a deep connection between them, rendering Akira's attempts more or less a waste. Turning his attention to the true purpose of his presence, Akira presents the confiscated crystal to the commander, revealing that it was the commander himself who provided him with the intuition that led to its confiscation. The crystal serves as a tangible evidence validating their hunch. Intrigued, the commander takes the crystal into his possession, his mind consumed with musings and contemplations. This newfound revelation triggers a sense of concern within Akira, prompting him to anxiously inquire if the spell has indeed been broken. Assured by the commander's response, he learns that indeed, the spell has been shattered. However, an unresolved but lingers in the commander's response, leaving Akira intrigued and yearning for further explanation. Alas, the commander remains tight-lipped, promising to examine the crystal more closely. He dismisses Akira for the night, urging him to rest after the whirlwind of events they have experienced within such a short span of time. Akira, however, harbors doubts about the safety of sleeping in his room within the castle walls, especially now that he has attracted the princess's ire as an enemy. He weighs his options and contemplates seeking refuge with someone else, hidden away in a secure location for the night. Before bidding farewell to Commander Saran, Akira brings up a topic that he had mentioned earlier, one that piques his curiosity. The commander assures him that he will have the requested information prepared by the same night, suggesting that their conversations will resume after a well-deserved night's rest. With this assurance, Akira departs, his mind buzzing with anticipation and questions yet to be answered. As the sun slowly rises on the horizon, casting its golden hues across the landscape, Akira finds himself regretting not awakening much earlier on this particular day. The previous day's battle and the subsequent shenanigans had left him utterly drained, rendering him unable to rise as early as he would have liked. However, it is hardly surprising given the exhaustive circumstances he had endured. As he begins his morning routine, Akira becomes aware of Tsukasa, the revered hero, actively seeking his presence. Inwardly, Akira reflects upon the hero's countenance, pondering whether he is finally liberated from the clutches of the curse. To his relief, Tsukasa appears to be in good spirits, and Akira decides to make himself known. Initiating a conversation, Akira inquires about the hero's well-being, concerned for his state of mind. In response, Tsukasa answers with a frantic affirmation, yet it becomes apparent that his current state of well-being is the least of his worries. There is an air of urgency surrounding him, hinting that something grave has occurred involving Commander Saran. Unfortunately, the hero is unable to disclose the distressing details on the spot, leaving Akira in suspense as he queries the nature of the predicament. Left with no other choice but to accompany the frantic Tsukasa, Akira follows him eagerly, driven by curiosity to unravel the source of the commotion. The duo hastily return to the castle, where a grim scene awaits Akira's gaze. His eyes fall upon Commander Saran, lying motionless on the floor, a fatal wound piercing his chest. The sight is nothing short of tragic, sending a wave of sorrow and disbelief coursing through Akira's being. A crowd has gathered. The commander is dead. Akira has no idea why this has happened. It's shocking and disbelieving to know he's lost his teacher and friend. He wants answers, but someone from the crowd isn't moved by Akira's distress. The person points out it is Akira's dagger sticking out of the commander's chest. Some others back up this claim. Yes, they had seen Akira in battle with that same dagger. This could only mean one thing. Akira is the murderer. Now the crowd is getting riled up. They believe Akira has killed Commander Saran. Akira tries to calm them down to explain. They're calling him names and things are getting out of control. He's perplexed. Surely someone should remember his dagger had broken while in battle with a Minotaur monster. Why can't anyone seem to remember that fact? Why isn't anyone stepping up to remind those that have forgotten? It clicks as Akira notices the princess and the king in the crowd. His classmates must be under a spell. That's why they've easily turned against him. And if this is truly the work of the king and his daughter, then it's going to take a whole lot to clear his name. He goes over to the commander's corpse and retrieves his bloody dagger from his chest. He announces to the king he'll leave since he's become an obstacle. The king doesn't plan to let Akira walk free. Technically, everyone believes he killed the commander, their last line of defense. It would be insane to let such a murderer walk out without severe punishment. Out of earshot, the princess whispers to Akira how he knows too much already, and so did the late commander. So whatever follows is their dish best served for being such busybodies. The king commands that Akira be arrested, but Akira remains surprisingly calm. He's clearly one thought ahead of the king's shenanigans, it seems. As the guards draw closer, Akira activates his stealth skill and he's gone. The king asks the guards to search for him, turning every nook and cranny. Meanwhile, the vice commander tries to reach out to Akira, letting him know that the late commander had left a letter for him together with something else Akira had requested for. The vice commander wants to know if the assassin unit was under the king's order, the Night Crows, but doesn't wait for an answer. He warns Akira to be careful as he is a target, and for him to leave the castle at once for his own safety. With a solemn nod, Akira bids farewell to the vice commander, his mind already set on his escape from the confines of the castle. The request he had made to the late Commander Saran, now an integral part of his carefully devised plan, was a testament to his foresight. It had been his intention all along to venture beyond the castle walls. Now circumstances, exacerbated by the king's reckless antics, have only hastened his departure. Yet this untimely escape comes at a steep cost. A life he genuinely held in high regard has been tragically lost. Determined and resolute, Akira takes an oath to avenge the untimely demise of Commander Saran, vowing to bring justice to those responsible. However, he acknowledges the long journey that lies ahead, as he is acutely aware of his current limitations. Despite his unwavering spirit, he understands that he is not yet imbued with the strength he aspires to possess. Thus, he grudgingly accepts that the path to vengeance may be a protracted one, requiring him to undergo further growth and empowerment before he can face his adversaries with the might he desires. The evil king is in a merry mood. He talks about the fulfillment of his desire with his daughter, the princess. The death of Commander Saran was bad news to everyone but the king. To him, the Commander Saran was just an annoying flea that needed to be taken care of. And for such a great man to be killed that easily, the princess even suggests that they should reward the Night Crows for their hard work. And what's more, the curse on everyone but the hero is now complete. All that remains is to find a reason to wage war against the Eastern Kingdom. Celebrations would be in order if not for one stubborn guy, Akira. As much as the king would like to ignore him, he just keeps living in the king's head. People like that most likely end up dying in the most random way possible, but the king still asks the Night Crows to track the boy, just to be sure. Meanwhile, it's been 10 days since Akira ventured into the king's dungeon. It's underground and there's no sure way to tell, but he uses his stomach to tell time by measuring the number of meals he's eaten. At some point, Akira realizes that he must save his ration, so he starts to roast the meat of monsters he faces, which surprisingly tastes very good. For now, he focuses on the beast-like monsters and leaves out those that look like humans, but Akira knows that at some point, he might have to stop being so picky. Moments like these when Akira rests or stops to eat are his most vulnerable moments. To compensate for that, he always keeps his stealth and threat detection skills activated, even though using skills drains his stamina and mana. But that's about enough of what's going on in Akira's head. Right now, he must eat and get ready for the next room, the boss room. In the dungeon, there is this giant floor on every 10 floors. Just in front of Akira is the boss's room on the 60th floor. This means that he's previously faced boss level monsters on the 10th to 50th floors. The 10th floor boss was a goblin general that Akira easily dealt with. The 20th floor had an orc, while the 30th floor boss was a tough red wolf. Akira had to pass through the Goblin King before getting past the 40th floor. For the 50th floor, which has been the most challenging so far, Akira had to face a Fenrir. Facing a Fenrir shouldn't be the biggest challenge in the world. But what makes this difficult is that the beast is accompanied by 4 level 30 bosses, red wolves. To defeat them, Akira had to make use of his stealth and strike each of them from behind. Akira wonders where he would be if not for his skills. He resolves to improve his fighting techniques and not just depend on his skills anymore. Since defeating the 50th floor boss, Akira has stayed true to his resolve. He's gotten to the 60th level with the help of his curved blade skill and nothing else. However, he recognizes that the quality of his opponents keeps increasing. The young man might be forced to use his skills sooner than he wants to. Akira is now inside the boss room. Every boss room he's experienced so far has doors that automatically lock once someone's inside. These doors won't open if the battle isn't over. In other words, once Akira gets in, it's either he dies or the boss dies. Well, that's not the best terms and conditions one would like to sign up for. Akira barely lets himself inside the room before the boss shows himself. Oh, this one is a fight-thirsty fellow. The huge beast has a lion's head and upper body, together with the horns and lower body of a goat, and a snake's venomous tail. Akira knows a thing or two about Greek mythology, and from the looks of it, this huge beast is a chimera. He steadies himself for a fight. Since it's a one-on-one fight this time, it can't be that bad, right? Wrong! The chimera is as fast as it is strong. It tries to pounce on Akira, with the warrior barely getting away with it each time. What makes it even more difficult is that it has no blind spots. With the venomous snake for a tail, Akira finds it difficult to sneak in from behind and attack the creature. This isn't a one-on-one battle. This is a nightmare. Whether he's thinking about ways to survive or lost in the huge presence of the beast, Akira loses concentration for a moment. This allows the chimera to pounce on him and forcefully toss him to the wall. Akira grunts in pain. He feels that all his ribs have been broken by that move. The warrior is now cornered to a wall, and it's not just figuratively now. Akira doesn't need anyone else to tell him that it's time to drop the act. There's no way he would kill a chimera with just a curved blade. To survive, Akira resolves to put everything he has into that fight. In a last-ditch effort, Akira uses his shadow magic skill on the monster. With his hounds outstretched, his consciousness begins to fade. He must be dreaming because Commander Saran is right there talking to him. Maybe it's a remembrance. Yes, he's heard the commander say this before. Commander Saran tells him that his shadow magic, no matter how powerful, has fatal flaws. It's almost as if it has a mind of its own, with its extreme mana consumption and risk of running wild. That's why he instructs Akira to always keep his guard up while using shadow magic. Akira wakes up and all he can perceive is the stench of blood. A very sweet stench of blood. He sees that the chimera is defeated, but he still cannot move any part of his body. Just as he thought, fighting a boss level monster without using any skills is too difficult. Akira passes out again, while the shadow magic now forcefully activates itself because of his injury level. The system now goes into recovery mode, but Akira doesn't have enough mana to completely recover, so the remaining mana needed is gotten from the shadow magic. Not such a bad skill to have, eh? In the beginning, the god of creation, Isekai'd, created the sky. After that, Isekai'd created land. Then with his own body as a model, he created people. People refers to humans, elves, demon folks, and beastmen. The god of creation blessed them with land to live on, work to do, and status to protect themselves. He hoped that raising the people would help soothe his heart, which had already been hardened because of the conflict between the gods. However, as it turned out, people are not so different from the gods. For want of more things like land, women, or men, they waged wars all across the land. For this reason, Isekai'd was angered by the people's behavior. He created monsters and proceeded to divide the land into 4 parts. The demon folk who were able to control these monsters were hated by the other 3 races and driven to the volcanic continent called Volcano. The elves, on the other hand, chose to live on the continent where the sacred tree soars to the sky. Their land was called the Forest. The remaining 2, humans and beastmen, kept fighting until the very end. The humans who won the fight picked the richest continent among the 4, called Continent. The beast got the beast continent called Brute. That is how the 4 races got their continent to live in. However, even after the wars ended, the demon folk still haven't ceased their attacks against the other 3 races. Even now, the demon folk still stay as a common enemy of the other 3 races. Akira finally opens his eyes for the first time since defeating the Chimera. He must have been dreaming, and it was about Commander Saran again. He's been saying the commander a lot these days, and this time it's about the first day he met Saran. While trying to recollect the dream, he notices something even more astonishing. For someone who couldn't move an inch before passing out, his body is in incredible shape and his wounds are all gone. Akira doesn't have a clue of what happened. What he has a clue about is how he's feeling, and right now, he feels very hungry. His first instinct is to look for something to eat in the forest, but he looks around and sees the Chimera laying dead on the floor. Charity begins at home, or, on the floor of a dungeon. The meat doesn't look rotten and there are no bugs or maggots around the creature's body. Akira decides to roast it by scorching it first with a magic stone. Here in Morrigan, people who don't have magic skills can still use simple magic like lighting a small fire or creating a bit of water. Akira roasts the Chimera with the magic stone and eats. He doesn't regret it one bit. The meat is so delicious that he can't stop until he's full. Now that he's completely satisfied, he thinks back to the reason his injuries are healed. Could it be that he was found by a random passerby who took pity and healed him? But then, he was locked in the boss's room. The stranger's kindness is ruled out. Akira checks his status to confirm that he doesn't have any revival skills, and then he discovers that he has a new skill, and it has a weird name: Good Luck. Akira is not a total stranger to the skill. As a matter of fact, he had hoped to get his hands on that skill much earlier. He thinks that if he did, he might have discovered the plan to assassinate Commander Saran and even stopped it. Akira's threat detection skills notify him that there's a threat close by. He looks around and sees nothing at first, but his skills haven't failed him and he trusts them, so he takes another careful look around the area. Thanks to this look, he can avoid the slime dropping from above, just in time. His threat detection isn't the only active skill. His perception skills also strongly make him feel that there's another person in the area. But, like with the slime at first, he can't see anyone around. He decides to go from the known to the unknown by defeating the slime monster first. The slime makes a lot of noise and lots of movements, but Akira has faced worse and is unfazed by the monster. The monster sends some of its slime at Akira. Too slow, this monster. Akira easily evades the incoming shots until he gets to the monster and opens it up with a single swift blade motion. Well, that's good enough for a warm-up, I guess. Akira is ready to keep on moving, but just as the defeated monster goes apart, he notices a figure with a definite shape. Wait a minute, that's a person. It just had to be Akira to make this kind of discovery in the deepest part of the dungeon. It's a female person with long pointed ears and a very pretty face. Akira knows enough about the different kinds of people from Commander Saran's stories, so he can tell that this person is an elf. From what he knows, the elves absolutely love nature and the sacred trees very dearly. They also detest humans who love to harshly cut down trees. Akira also knows that it's very hard to see an elf leave the forest continent, so he wonders why an elf would have wandered so far away from home. These questions don't answer themselves, and he can't abandon her there, so he decides to be patient until she regains consciousness. Akira sits down to wait for the elf, not knowing how long it would take. Waiting while doing nothing is not a common occurrence for Akira. His life is usually filled with incidents, learning, and training, so maybe waiting might provide a fresh perspective. He talks the talk but cannot walk the walk. After a little while, he gets bored and decides to look for something to do while waiting. He remembers that he had a certain skill from the start called the Eye of the World. He has never tried this skill and has no idea what it can do. This might be a good time to test the skill. Eye of the World is a skill that makes the user see the entire truth of the world. It's also possible for the user to adjust the area of sight. Akira gives the skill a try. However, his body cannot take it, and his head feels like it's about to split into two. He sees a lot but can't keep it going, so he cancels the skill before it takes its toll on his body. Shadow Magic, Eye of the World. Akira seems to have some skills that he can't use constantly. After reading about the skill, he finds out that he can adjust the area of sight. Maybe it won't be so bad when he does it, but before he tries out the skill, he notices something else. The unconscious elf is awake. Meanwhile, outside the dungeon and in the city, Asahina Kyosuke, who is a samurai, walks into a completely strange room and starts to destroy the crystals in that room. The samurai isn't conscious of his actions. Could he be under the influence of the king and the princess? Back at the dungeon, the pretty elf is awake again, so Akira rushes to meet her. First things first, he makes sure that she's physically okay, and the elf insists that she's physically fine. The next thing he does is offer her food. After what he assumes was a long time in the slime, she must be feeling very hungry. Just as he predicted, she feels very hungry and takes the food off his hands. What he doesn't predict is that she would run and hide behind the pillar. He wonders whether she's scared of him. Like he's trying to win an animal's trust, he brings another piece of meat to attract her. As she's very hungry, she concedes and comes to collect the food. With the food offering, he feels like a moderated level of trust is now established, so he comes out to ask what she was doing in the slime. The pretty elf says that she doesn't know how she got there, but even if she did, it's not something she would like to talk about. Fair enough. Akira has no problem with that. Akira looks at her again and notices something strange but astonishing. Maybe it's because he activated his Eye of the World skill just as she woke up, but he can see her status panel very clearly. From her status panel, Akira learns that the pretty elf's name is Amelia Rose Quartz of the High Elf race. From what he heard, the High Elves are like elf royalty. But that's not all. She has lots of amazing stats, but one stands out. It's her magic power, which the status panel describes as unmeasured stat. What's that supposed to mean? And as if Akira hadn't gotten enough surprises for the day, he sees that Amelia also has his Eye of the World skill. Extra skills are supposed to be rare. How coincidental is meeting a similar skill user in this location? As she possesses the skill, Amelia can also see Akira's status bar, which tells her all his basic information including his name. She doesn't try to hide it as she calls out his name and asks what he's doing in the dungeon. He answers that he's there to increase his level. After that, an awkward moment of silence ensues. Looking at Amelia again, Akira notices that she has white hair and red eyes. This is unlike most other elves that have blonde hair and blue eyes. Akira tries to break the built-up ice between the pair. He asks Amelia where she plans to go and what she plans to do after now. Maybe she has plans to return to the elven continent. Amelia boldly responds that she plans to stay with Akira. The young man did not expect that response, and he informs her of his plans to return home after completing the dungeon. Amelia looks away and tells Akira that he has no place in the human castle. Akira is taken aback by her response and then asks to know what she meant. She points out that they have the same eyes, so he should understand why he has no place there. Akira feels that she's talking about the Eye of the World skill, but his level might be too low to understand what the elf meant. Amelia replies that he doesn't understand it only because he rejected the eyes. Before he can ask to understand better, she says that she's tired and needs to sleep. Akira has no choice but to agree, but he doesn't stop thinking about what she meant. As Akira goes to sleep, he widens the diameter of his threat detection to include the area around Amelia. Well, someone's being a proper gentleman. Amelia, on the other hand, thinks about the words she just said to Akira. She knows that her words aren't just for Akira. They also apply to her, because she also doesn't have a place to return to. While in her deep, sad thoughts, she feels a gust of warm wind touching her skin on the cold floor. Akira also used his lifestyle magic to make the wind touch her. The lad might just be a kind person, after all. While she still lived in the elven village, nobody cared about her as much as the stranger. Even her little sister rejected her. She recalls looking into Akira's eyes and telling that he's from a different world. She wonders what kind of world Akira comes from and the kind of people that live there. Meanwhile, at the human castle, Tsukasa brings the humans together and tries to address them about his plans to defeat the demon lord, and possibly get them to join him in the battle. Most of them mock him, while others are surprised that he's volunteering to go in such a chaotic situation. It hadn't been so long since Commander Saran got killed by Akira, or at least that's what they think. Tsukasa remains relaxed, knowing that most of their words are because of the curse. The point must be to stop the people from working together. Even at that, their taunts start to get annoying over time. The king and princess are really doing whatever they can to defeat Tsukasa. Tsukasa announces that he doesn't plan to back out. He plans to leave the castle no matter what, even if it means going alone. Just as he's about to leave disappointed, someone from the crowd volunteers to join him. It's the samurai, Asahina Kyosuke. It's like they were waiting for the first person to step forward because 4 other people, including Ueno, immediately indicate interest in fighting the demon lord with Tsukasa. Tsukasa informs them that their departure is imminent, whether the king agrees to it or not. He instructs them to disperse, quickly pack their things, and leave the castle before they are stopped. Meanwhile, a guard is spying on them from the walls behind. He doesn't interrupt. He just goes back to report to his master. The new group of warriors, headed by Tsukasa, successfully make their escape. There was no resistance at the gate, which is a bit weird to them. But then, maybe they just got lucky. Tsukasa has to confirm something first. He asks why they chose to come with him. Ueno points out that it could be that all 6 warriors aren't affected by the curse anymore. They don't know how the curse was lifted, but the samurai might know a thing or two. Asahina Kyosuke tells them about the story of finding himself in a room and breaking 6 crystals with his katana. The 6 crystals could represent the 6 warriors who now have their curses broken. Then again, it's just a theory. There are so many unanswered questions, like what prompted his body to break those 6 crystals. They check to see whether the katana is a cursed item, but there's nothing wrong with the weapon. It's a pure white katana that has the name Hakuryu on it. And as they are still close to the city, the brave fighters decide to march on and figure things out later. Meanwhile, the guard that was observing Tsukasa's group now reports to his master. Thankfully, the master is the vice commander and not the king. From his report, it looks like the king isn't aware of Tsukasa's movements yet. The vice commander is relieved because it means that he bought the heroes some time. He just hopes they can take advantage of the extra time. They have to. Tsukasa finds himself approached by one of the 6 heroes, a valiant warrior seeking to understand their comprehensive strategy to vanquish the obstacle that is the Demon Lord. In response, Tsukasa proposes a meticulous and calculated approach, stressing the significance of tackling each challenge methodically and systematically. He emphasizes the need to prioritize their immediate goal of escaping the treacherous forest and venturing far away from the oppressive territory controlled by the tyrannical king. Tsukasa underscores the importance of proceeding with utmost caution, avoiding reckless actions that could jeopardize their safety or impede their progress. Meanwhile, Asahina Kyosuke takes a sentimental journey down memory lane, reliving the countless memories shared with Akira and Tsukasa over the years. The trio were classmates since kindergarten, but there's always been tension between Tsukasa and Akira. Akira, known for his enigmatic nature, possesses an uncanny ability to vanish into thin air before anyone can lay eyes on him, and this has always come off as unfriendliness or hostility. For one, Kyosuke had noticed that Tsukasa didn't take well to anyone not acknowledging his presence, which is what Akira always seemed to do. Kyosuke vividly recalls an unexpected encounter with Akira while he was toiling away at a construction site. Akira's discomfort was palpable, likely stemming from his surprise that Kyosuke recognized him. The situation carried a touch of irony, since Kyosuke himself had not anticipated Akira would remember him. Nevertheless, their chance meeting led to a heartfelt conversation, with Kyosuke assuring Akira that engaging in part-time jobs did not contravene any school regulations, should Akira have harbored concerns about potential repercussions. As it turned out, Akira's worries lay not in being reported, but rather in concealing his secret side gig from his peers. Their friendship swiftly blossomed as they discovered a shared bond. They both had younger sisters who happened to be close friends. The bond between them went beyond the school premises, and they started spending more and more time together outside of class. However, their peaceful companionship took a sudden turn when they found themselves transported to a strange world. The weight of unjust accusations fell upon Akira, causing Kyosuke's heart to be burdened with sorrow. He deeply regrets his own inability to offer a helping hand when the crowd unjustly labeled Akira as a monster. Ever since their arrival in this unfamiliar realm, Kyosuke has not had a single chance to engage in a conversation with Akira. The regret gnaws at him, knowing that he should have put more effort into establishing a line of communication with his old friend before the unfortunate events unfolded. To make matters worse, Kyosuke ponders the impression he left on Akira by becoming part of the crowd that believed in his guilt as a murderer. He wonders how his actions might have affected their friendship, and whether Akira harbors any resentment towards him. The weight of these thoughts adds to his already heavy heart, deepening his remorse and longing to make amends. Despite the simplicity of their shared bond and the innocence of their connection through their sisters, the circumstances have thrust them into a complex situation. Kyosuke yearns for an opportunity to rectify his past misjudgment and to bridge the emotional distance that has grown between him and Akira since their arrival in this bewildering world. Interrupting Kyosuke's reminiscing, Tsukasa interjects with a voice filled with curiosity, as he eagerly asks about Kyosuke's motivation for embarking on this perilous hero's journey together. Kyosuke, his eyes displaying determination, reveals that his primary objective is to reunite with Akira. This statement elicits an unexpected reaction from Tsukasa, causing a flicker of irritation to momentarily cross his features. Unfazed by Tsukasa's response, Kyosuke continues, suggesting that Akira and Tsukasa share striking similarities. The assertion intensifies Tsukasa's vexation, and the urgency in his desire to conclude the conversation promptly becomes evident. Tsukasa, however, does not hold any animosity towards Akira, despite the undeniable resemblance between the two. Yet despite Tsukasa's subtle cues, Kyosuke remains oblivious, persistently emphasizing the burdens carried by both Akira and Tsukasa. These burdens are of contrasting natures, with one concealed within and the other borne alone, as they both attempt to shoulder the weight of others. Returning to the scene within the labyrinthine dungeon, Amelia and Akira find themselves locked in a desperate battle against a formidable and monstrous foe. Amelia's swift and skillful movements prove instrumental in swiftly dispatching the fearsome creature. She activates her skill, Gravity, and the flying beast is easily pulled to the ground to meet its defeat. Akira, a surge of relief washing over him, witnesses firsthand that Amelia is far from being mere dead weight, as he had initially thought. Taking a moment to catch their breath and recover from the grotesque battle, they share a much-needed meal, momentarily setting aside the horrors that surround them. Before partaking in the nourishing meal, Akira takes a moment to offer a prayer, an ingrained practice from his world. Amelia, curious about this ritual, decides to mimic Akira's gesture, clasping her hands together in a semblance of a prayer and seeking confirmation if she has replicated it correctly. The display of curiosity on Amelia's part piques her interest further, and she embarks on a quest for more insight into Akira's personal life, prompting her to inquire about his family and closest friends. Akira, finding himself in a rare moment of vulnerability, opens up to Amelia, divulging the details of his upbringing. He hails from a single-parent household, his mother and younger sister being the pillars of his life. The absence of his father, who abandoned them when Akira was a mere 10 years old, forced him to assume the responsibilities of a matured adult. It was never part of his father's plan to have a sickly mother and 2 young children to care for. To make ends meet, Akira had to juggle multiple part-time jobs while diligently attending school. Recently, his younger sister volunteered to lend a helping hand, easing the burden on Akira's shoulders and allowing him to spend less time away from home. Now that's a touching and engaging backstory. In turn, Amelia discloses that she too has a younger sister. It seems everyone has a younger sister at this point, one who seems to excel in every aspect of life, from beauty to various skills. Amelia, however, harbors a sense of inadequacy in comparison, perceiving her sister as someone close to perfection. Akira expresses skepticism, believing that spending time with seemingly flawless individuals might not be as enjoyable as it initially seems. He draws parallels to his own relationship with Tsukasa, emphasizing the allure of people with weaknesses and flaws who refuse to hide behind a facade of perfection. Amidst their conversation, Akira's hunger for rice becomes apparent, eliciting surprise from Amelia. She informs him that rice exists in their current world as well. Akira finds this revelation enthralling, learning that the first hero established a nation called Yamato, closely resembling their original world. The prospect of visiting Yamato ignites a spark of hope within Akira's heart. However, he acknowledges the immediate need to remain focused on his primary objective, increasing his level and seeking vengeance for the fallen commander Saran. Amelia, a steadfast source of encouragement, assures Akira of his incredible strength, already ranking among the most formidable humans in her eyes. Akira acknowledges this fact, recognizing his own power even without relying solely on his formidable Eye of the World skill. Nevertheless, he remains acutely aware that his current strength is insufficient to fulfill his mission and deliver justice for Commander Saran. To attain his goals and overcome the looming challenges, he must strive relentlessly to reach level 100, pushing his limits to become even stronger and unlock his true potential. Motivated by his pursuit of mastery in swordsmanship, Akira previously embarked on a daring quest to conquer a treacherous floor. However, his endeavors proved to be more challenging than anticipated, leaving him grappling with frustration and a sense of stagnation. After expressing his struggle, Amelia, ever the supportive companion, decides to lend him a helping hand. Employing her formidable magic abilities, she skillfully seals Akira's skills, temporarily denying him access to his usual array of talents. In a display of swift and masterful magic creation, she leaves Akira in awe of her unwavering proficiency and speed. Amidst their astonishment, Amelia's acute senses alert her to a looming threat overhead, a formidable monster soaring through the skies. Akira's heart quickens, a mixture of urgency and concern flooding his thoughts as he comprehends the gravity of the situation. The realization that his threat detection and perception skills are now sealed leaves him in a state of uncertainty and vulnerability, his usual means of anticipating danger rendered momentarily inaccessible. Amelia, with her voice filled with unwavering support, encourages Akira to give his best effort. She assures him that she is ready to intervene if needed. However, before he can formulate a detailed plan, the bat-like monster attacks relentlessly. It takes advantage of Akira's weakened state, catching him off guard. Akira finds it difficult to defend himself and struggles to mount a solid defense due to his sealed skills. This puts him at a severe disadvantage against the continuous onslaught. Despite recognizing the creature from a previous encounter, Akira understands that the battle becomes a much greater test without his usual skills to support him. The monster possesses a unique trait that can deceive and confuse its opponent's senses. This makes it an incredibly difficult opponent to track and predict. Akira wrestles with the immense challenge at hand, and his thoughts are filled with the difficulty of the situation. Nevertheless, Amelia remains a steadfast pillar of support. She urges him to persevere and emphasizes the futility of relying solely on his sealed skills and senses. Inspired by Amelia's wise advice, Akira redirects his focus towards his untainted source of power, the mana that courses through his being. Recognizing that honing his ability to sense the flow of mana can empower him both physically and mentally, he sees a glimmer of hope amidst the daunting encounter. With renewed determination, Akira embarks on an exploration of the untapped potential within his mana manipulation skills, opting for an unconventional approach to overcome the predicament before him. Rather than attempting to conceal himself or blend into the shadows, Akira delves into the intricate art of replication, harnessing the intricate threads of his mana to create an astonishingly lifelike clone of himself. As the monstrous bat hurtles towards the mirage, deceived by its authenticity, Akira seizes the golden opportunity, executing a lightning-fast and meticulously precise swordplay maneuver that effortlessly severs the threat's existence. Nice move, Akira. Amelia stands in awe. She is captivated by the brilliance of Akira's unorthodox strategy. Her curiosity is piqued, and she marvels at how he managed to achieve such a remarkable feat. Akira humbly attributes his success to a unique interpretation of Amelia's guidance. He blends his extraordinary mana manipulation skills with his finely honed swordsmanship to triumph over the obstacle. Even though the monster is now dead, the mana cluster that formed the clone remains standing. It is almost like an independent entity. This feat is not only impressive, but also seemingly impossible. Typically, only enchanters with extraordinary magical abilities can create independent mana constructs. However, there is a historical precedent for this skill. It was once demonstrated by the first hero, a legendary figure from the past. Akira and Amelia, driven by their unwavering determination, press on, delving deeper into the treacherous dungeon. Undeterred by the challenges that lie ahead, they persist and eventually find themselves standing on the illustrious 80th floor, marveling at the vast expanse that stretches out before them. The sheer size of this floor surpasses anything they have encountered thus far, overshadowing the previous levels with its breathtaking grandeur and scale, and a really massive stairs that goes upwards seemingly forever. Akira's sharp eyes scan the surroundings, searching intently for any sign, any clue as to the whereabouts of the formidable boss that awaits their confrontation. Curiosity gnaws at his mind, fueling his desire to uncover the hidden secret of this floor. Where could it be hiding? How can they unveil its cunning and elusive presence? And then, as if in response to their yearning for excitement and discovery, a remarkable spectacle unfolds right above them. A magnificent creature takes flight, soaring through the air with a grace that leaves them both awestruck. Akira's gaze is instantly drawn upward, his heart skipping a beat as he beholds the majestic form of a dragon, its wings spread wide against the backdrop of the dungeon's gloomy depths. An instinctive sense of danger surges within him, propelling him into swift action. With a quick tug, he pulls Amelia away from the dragon's potential reach, ensuring her safety. The sight of this awe-inspiring creature fills them with a heady mix of excitement as they come to the realization that they are standing face to face with a true marvel of the mythical realm, a dragon, the epitome of power and legend. Akira's mind races, concocting a plan amidst the chaos and uncertainty that surrounds them. He quickly comprehends that a direct assault on the airborne dragon would be an exercise in futility, a perilous endeavor that could have disastrous consequences. Thinking on his feet, he suggests to Amelia that she taps into her extraordinary mastery of gravity magic, utilizing its force to bring the dragon crashing down to the earth, grounding it in a way that renders its airborne advantage futile. Aware of the potential risks involved, Amelia nods in agreement, her eyes filled with determination and a touch of concern. She urges Akira to exercise the utmost caution, mindful of the fact that when the dragon succumbs to the gravitational pull, there's a risk of him being caught in the ensuing chaos and crushed beneath the weight of the falling creature. With a resolute nod, Amelia taps into her magical prowess, channeling the very forces of nature to exert a compelling pull on the dragon, compelling it to descend from the lofty heights it once commanded. Sensing the opportunity that has presented itself, Akira's heart pounds with adrenaline as he takes flight, soaring through the air like a falcon in pursuit of its prey. The wind rushes past him, making his senses sharper and more focused on one objective only. That objective is to strike a decisive blow against the dragon's strong defenses. He tightly grips his katana with strong determination and concentration. He locates a vulnerable spot and thrusts his blade deep into the back of the dragon's neck, aiming to cause maximum impact. A surge of excitement runs through his veins as he believes he has delivered a crippling blow, one that would prevent the dragon from flying even if Amelia were to use her gravity magic. However, fate has a different plan in store. The dragon, defying everyone's expectations and showing remarkable resilience, forcefully throws Akira off its back, sending him tumbling through the air in a chaotic manner. The ground rapidly approaches and he lands with a loud crash, creating a cloud of dust that swirls in the air. Momentarily disoriented but not discouraged, Akira quickly evaluates his condition, ensuring that he hasn't suffered any serious injuries. Surprisingly, the dragon still stands, albeit visibly weakened from the relentless onslaught it has endured. Akira can't help but express his astonishment, openly admitting that he hadn't anticipated the dragon's survival after his relentless strike to its vulnerable throat. Nevertheless, he takes solace in the belief that his attack has inflicted substantial damage, effectively hampering the dragon's ability to take to the skies once again. Amelia, her eyes reflecting a mixture of concern and awe, echoes Akira's sentiments regarding the dragon's inexplicable resilience. Dragons, renowned for their indomitable strength, should not have succumbed so easily to his blade. The discrepancy puzzles her, leaving a nagging sense of uncertainty lingering in the depths of her mind. Akira concurs, noting that the dragon feels distinctively dissimilar from the chimera he previously encountered. Even after consulting the mystical Eye of the World to scrutinize its attributes, he couldn't help but find the dragon's stats lacking, an enigma shrouded in mystery. The duo stares in bewilderment as the dragon once again advances with renewed determination.